Yo, this will be the fastest Changli guide on YouTube. As always, I'm not gonna waste your time. By the way, Changli just got buffed, so some of the information that you knew before will change this video. So Changli is a character that can be used as a main DPS or also can be used as a second DPS or sub DPS, but she's mainly a main DPS. Now with Changli, whenever you do 4 basic attacks or 4 mid attacks, you will enter through sight, and your next attack will be changed. If it's a basic attack, you will dash on the enemy and do something called true sight conquests, and if it's a mid-air attack, you will transform into a phoenix and do a plunge attack on the enemy. And whenever you use these attacks with the true sight, they will give you a stack on the forte circuit. Not only that, Changli's resonance skill also makes her enter the true sight, and it's a skill that just does damage but also gives her true sight for 12 seconds, so it will also give her another stack. Now when you get the 4 stacks on her forte circuit and you use your charge attack, she will deal AoE damage considered as skill damage and use all of the stacks. Now for her resonance liberation, it's basically a nuke that does damage, but also it gives her 4 more stacks. And the thing is, whenever you use your charge attack with the stacks or use your ultimate, Changli will get 20% more fusion damage and also will ignore 15% of the target's defense. Also, with every stack that you have on your forte, you will get 5% more fusion damage. So when you have 4 stacks, you will have 20% more fusion damage. Changli kit doesn't end here because her outer skill gives the next character 20% fusion damage and 25% resonance liberation damage until that character is switched out, and that's what makes her insanely versatile. Now Changli's rotation will change depending on her team. Now before I tell you the rotation, there is a combo that you need to learn with Changli as a main DPS. You should go with the intro skill, then use your air attacks to get the true sight charge, and then you plunge and use your basic attack combo, use your skill, get a stack, and use your skill, get another stack, and then use your forte. And that's the fastest way to get the forte circuit if you're a main DPS. And the rotation will be you use your third support, then you build concerto energy with your sub DPS and use everything that your sub DPS can help with Changli damage, and you switch to Changli. Now if you're using Changli as a sub DPS, you will rely on Changli as a quick swapper, so you will switch to her and then the other DPS, which is another fusion DPS. You get some stacks, then you go back to the DPS until you get your full stacks, you get the concerto energy, and then you buff your other DPS. Now for the echoes, you will need the Molten Rift echo set and use the Inferno Rider as your main echo. You can go with crit rate or crit damage depending on your stats and your weapon. For the 3 costs, you can go with double fusion or 1 fusion 1 attack. The difference isn't that big with Changli. And for the 1 cost, you will go with attack. Now you have to focus on resonance skill damage, crit rate, crit damage, energy regen, and attack. These are the best substats that you can use on her. You probably will need more energy if you use her as a sub DPS. Now before I talk about the weapons, I said at the start that Changli got buffed. I want to say that her energy required for her resonance liberation is now 120 instead of 150. Her weapon got buffed and gives the stacks for 12 seconds instead of 10. They tried to fix her to make her weapon better, and her main weapon has crit damage, is the best in slot, gives her a lot of resonance skill damage, and also the second best weapon will be again the Emerald of Genesis. It's a very good weapon. You have to take it from the selector, and it's also a crit rate weapon. If you don't have any of those, you can use Commando of Conviction. Now let's talk about Changli's teams. As always, Yinlin and Verena are always useful and dominating the meta. Although Yinlin will not be able to buff her in any way, but her damage is still big to be used as a sub DPS, and also for Verena to be used as a support. Also, a character like Mortefi will be very useful with her here as the sub DPS, or also you can use Sanhua, but Sanhua will have a little less value than these two, and especially from Yinlin, she's kinda far. Now for the support, you can use Verena, you can use also Baizhi as your second option, or also you can use Genjin as the third option. Now she can be useful too. She can also make it easier for you, but also you will lose a considerable amount of buffs and DPS if you trade her with Baizhi or also Verena. Now for the sub DPS team, you can use her with Encore or Shisa as the other DPS. So with Encore, you will still need Changli to be on field most of the time, but whenever you get the concerto energy, as I said before, you switch to Encore, you do the damage with Encore, and you go back and you do this again. With Shisa, this is going to be a little different, and she's going to be better with Shisa, so she's helping Chisia a lot more than Chisia helping her. And not only that, you can actually use her with any other main DPS and have a fun team but with a little less value. Now I won't talk a lot about the resonant chain, but I would say that her C6 is the most powerful thing in her, so maybe go with C1 or either C0 and go with her weapon. But the most crazy thing here is that since Changli is coming tomorrow, if you don't subscribe now, you're gonna lose your 50-50. Bye bye.